Hello everyone, this is Chris Cross with CA Technologies, and today I'm going to talk about Continuous Application Insight and how we document our transactions. So to get it started in our new dev test portal, so you can see in my dashboard I've been doing lots of work building automated test cases, running virtual services, and pinning points of interest within Continuous Application Insight. But what I'm going to do now is actually look at how can I document transactions where I'm running manual test cases, and specifically I'm going to do about 8 of them. So you can see in my queue I've already documented 7, so I'm going to add my 8th. So the core idea is when you work with a user interface, so you've got a manual test case you're running from Quality Center or Rational, or maybe you're just keeping them in Bugzilla or Word documents, you need to document the transaction flow through the application all the way to the database and back, so you understand how the system's working. And then later, when you run a second regression, you can diff them. So from a usability standpoint, this is something that when you have mergers and acquisitions, or maybe you have old code that you've never seen, and you just don't have visibility into the application, and you want to do a better job of testing and validating, this gives you that visibility. So what I'm simply going to do is activate a recorder. So I'm on my machine. I'm going to actually go through adding money to my account for my car. So I'm going to start my recorder, and then I'm going to come over to my browser, log into my bank. Now I'm sure there's lots of different things behind here, but I'm just not sure how they work. So basically, by exercising the user interface, what happens is we're capturing the live paths. So within the window here, as I'm driving the transactions, you'll see this will update. What this does is it gives me visibility into how the application's orchestrated. So I can see the beans, the flows, and actually understand everything that's happening in the background. So I'll stop my recording. And now you can see I've got a couple options. I can generate a document or save this. First, I'm going to generate a document. So what happens is we're going to go through and analyze the transactions and give you a very concise PDF report of what happened behind the scenes when I made this car payment. So I can now use this as a reference architecture within my system. I know the different web pages I hit. I'll see the SQL statements down to how they traverse against multiple app servers. So, of course, one of the coolest things is you actually get the transaction flows. And this is the one thing everybody loves. They don't have visibility or understanding in how the actual transaction is orchestrated, knowing that what web pages hit what databases, what web pages relied on third-party services. So we give you a representation of the graphical flow of what happened behind the scenes. We'll show you the routes and the leaves for all the transactions and where they went, down to the details around them. So now, when you want to actually understand what's behind a user interface, or I need to document the flow of data between a system, I've now captured all that in a documentation. So when I go through and I save this, I'll now have 8 transactions documented. So I've fulfilled my 8th day of the dev test Christmas. The cool thing is I can now share this document with someone else. So instead of the new person coming on to the team saying, well, I don't actually understand how payments run through the system, and them trying to read code and understand it, you can just give them this document and it shows them all the interfaces, the data associated with them, and the flow of the transaction through the system. So it really helps tell you what's behind the scenes versus doing that high level whiteboard of what we think the system does, and there's some transactions that go back and forth and hit the mainframe itself. Thanks a lot.